Kyle Maggard, AMW, Hazard, Kentucky, November 22nd. He hit me up. He said, "You think we ought to put it on pay-per-view?" I said, "Fuck it. Put it on pay-per-view." He said, "I've done it before. I will do it again." He has been making us laugh our asses off in our group text leading up to this show that we're doing November 22nd in Hazard. He's a veteran of the pro wrestling game. You and Kyle know a lot of the same people from that Kentucky independent scene. This is going to be another one where it's going to be hard to cut him off like it was The Godfather because there's so much to say. Kyle, we're live, pal.
Hey, biggest pop I've ever had right there. Thank you.
There's the brother right there. I love it.
Kyle, what is going on? Is this
Appalachian Mountain Wrestling founder, I believe. I don't know. Could be making it up. Maybe stole it from somebody else. But here he is, Kyle Maggard.
Guys, I'll say this too. We had the Godfather in last year at the same event that you all are coming into.
Uh-oh.
And I had the pleasure of going to pick him up from the airport. The nearest airport to Hazard is Lexington. It's a 2-hour haul. So there was a lot of bullshit up and back. It was a great time.
Yeah.
Charles he's a great dude.
He's the
Can't
man.
say anything more about him.
Now, did he hand you a 500 milligram gummy, Kyle?
No, there were no gummies exchanged.
Did the gummy do to you what it did to Zicky and say, "Fuck you, buddy"?
No gummies exchanged.
So tell us a little bit about Appalachian Mountain Wrestling, what you've been doing, what you've been building. Since we got acquainted, I've been looking it up. It's highly impressive what you're doing down there, the frequency these shows are running, the quality of the work, the quality of the show. How'd that all get started, and how did you build the damn thing?
Well, I started wrestling in 2002. Out in Bowling Green in the Nashville area. I'm from Hazard, so that's like a 4-hour haul. But that was my first 4 or 5 years. We had a loop out there every weekend. We'd do 4 or 5 shows in a weekend. Come on home. Get ready for the next weekend. These kids today, if they do 2 shows in a weekend, they shit their pants. They don't know what the hell's going on.
Too far of a drive.
Clack.
Then I come back and I started working in some places that Carl works in or had worked in. I think you'd probably just left when I got there. But at the same time, I was into college officiating. So I was doing some college sports, and everybody knows if you're having to pick money on the independent scene of professional wrestling or a decent little payoff for some college sports, I ended up doing, long story short, I ended up doing that more. And I'd still work so many spots a year, and it was like it got harder and harder to commit to spots, and because I don't want to be that guy that says, "Well, yeah, I can, but then I can't," or just you know what I mean. So we ended up there in Eastern Kentucky. It's the old Smoky Mountain territory part of Kentucky.
Yep, we
didn't really have any wrestling, not any good wrestling.
That's a wrestling territory. When they have it, they love it too.
And that is fact. So in September of 2016, couple of us got together, got this baby rolling, and it's taken a while to get it to where it's at. There's been ups and downs, and more downs than ups. That's the wrestling business. So after COVID, everything had died down, and stuff started coming back, and we ran our first show, I think, after COVID, and hell, there's right about 1,000 people there. It was just, I remember looking
out from COVID, dude.
They hollered at me. They said they're lined up down the block, and I said bullshit. I walked out the door, and I said, holy shit. And then about 20 minutes later, I guess the line had got through, and they said, well, that line's gone. And 10 minutes later, somebody said, hey, they're lined down the block again. So, and we've been fortunate enough. I think our fans understand we put on a good show, and we do a lot for them, and we try to do a lot for just the history of wrestling in Eastern Kentucky too. So we had Jeff Jarrett in with us in Lexington the other day. And we presented him and his mother and father an award for all that USWA did for wrestling in Kentucky. So
cool.
We're, you and I have talked, and we've talked about just different shit that's went on here wrestling wise in Eastern Kentucky. I could give you a list of who's wrestled through here, what titles they've wrestled for, promotions they've wrestled with. Good friend of mine, one that got me started, a guy named John Noble. He's been working since 97. Carl, did you know John?
I know the name.
Okay. Well, there's
I don't remember if I met him or not, or if I horked him or not.
Well, there's an Eastern Kentucky Sports Hall of Fame, a Mountain Sports Hall of Fame, and it's all about people that's made it to the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. There's Major League Baseball umpires in there. They've had great college careers in the quote unquote sports, not the sport entertainment genre. But John wrestled Tom Latimer for the NWA World Title there a couple months ago, and that from our research, that he was the first Eastern Kentuckian that had wrestled for that title in Eastern Kentucky. Now he's the second one. Royal Nelson wrestled for it down in the 70s, down in the Carolinas in the Knoxville area. But John's the second one, but the first one to ever do it in Eastern Kentucky. So they have a big display, a replica of the world title, and a big picture of him and Tom and everything on display down there in their Hall of Fame. And it's the only wrestling based merch or memorabilia in that sucker.
It's really cool when you look at, and I've been down this rabbit hole over the years a couple of times, and when you familiarize yourself with the Jarrett family and Lawler and, the history of Tennessee wrestling and ICW when the Poffos were running the Outlaw Group, Randy Savage's family, and trying to jump each other in parking lots. And then, Jerry Jarrett pulling that brother's eyeball out in the ring. If you're ever want to go down a wrestling rabbit hole, the history of Tennessee wrestling through the territories up until actually the end of them, because Vince sent a lot of people down there through Lawler and Jarrett as well. It's damned interesting, and you can find a lot of gems on YouTube of guys showing up and being down there on nights off. Some great matches with Lawler and Shawn Michaels and all kinds of stuff. Undertaker, very cool stuff. A lot of guys came through there.
That most people's like old school wrestling fans here, their hero was Ronnie Garvin in Eastern Kentucky. Ronnie Garvin was the big baby face.
Hands of stone, baby.
The Randy Macho Man in ICW.
Yeah.
And people talk all the time. We had Ronnie in 2017. We had him in. We had Lanny come in before he passed, and we ran an event at a school ICW ran at in Combs, Kentucky, which is just outside of Hazard.
Okay.
There's a bridge that they shot for ICW television of Randy taking all of his sports awards and chucking them off the bridge. That bridge is right next to that school. Now, I don't know. I don't think any of them were to shoot awards, but
Well, some stuff from the local trophy gimmick, whatever.
Right.
Well, Kyle, what is 1122? Where is it at, and what is it?
That's our biggest event of the year. Turmoil.
Yes.
It's in Hazard, Kentucky at Hazard High School. Our main event is War Games. So we'll have 2 rings and a big ass cage around both of them.
Yeah. We're not in that.
No, we're in a tag team title match against the Country Gentlemen, and we're going to keep racking up just like we just did in Tijuana, Mexico, when we became the Mexican World Tag Team Champions. We're going to do it at Appalachian Mountain Wrestling November 22nd. And if the Costanzas have anything to say about it, I'll just give them one of these.
Yeah.
So that night we do a little Hall of Fame where we try to pay respect to people that have done something for wrestling in Eastern Kentucky. So we're in the mountains because we're Appalachian Mountain Wrestling. We're based in the mountains, so we try to honor those people. So the Kazana's dad, Joe, will be there that night receiving that award.
He better watch his mouth.
And he'll also be at ringside.
Like I said.
That big, bright, white, shiny suit that he has.
He sure does. We just met him for the first time at NWA. Dude's a trip, but he's standing across the ring from us.
But
hell yeah. Hey, we appreciate you for coming in.
I appreciate you
for
all for
coming into
having
the
me.
shop.
Everybody can go to amwrestling.com to order the pay-per-view too.
amwrestling.com. If you can't be in Hazard, Kentucky, November 22nd, amwrestling.com. You can watch us live, watch the Hall of Fame, watch War Games, watch us become AMW Tag Team Champions. Kyle, I hate to kick you out, but we got to round this fucker out. We got to wind her down. We got one more guest. Thanks for coming on, good brother. Let's talk again.
Thanks for having me.
You got it.
Thanks,
bro.
Kyle. Appreciate you. You know what?
Yes.
Kyle's got a lot of – that could be a fun talking shop when we want to sit and talk about all the redneck world of wrestling down there in Kentucky. I mean, that's a real – it's like
well, I wanted to start into Donnie Green and all the characters that you've taught me about and some of the guys that I met over the years. But, like, it's one of those things where we need, like, an hour and a half on a regular talking shop just to talk to Kyle because I do, like – once I realized there was wrestling outside of what was on TV and I was a teenager, dude, Memphis wrestling is where some of the greatest wrestling ideas ever came from. Some of the greatest characters, like they were just pulling shit out of their hat to get people into these buildings, you know, like Kamala's a truck driver and they decided to pay